Hello, A Push crew. How is everybody? So, I wanted to start video lecturing with you guys so you can see my face and we can talk to each other more. I have been doing this course in the same book for 3 years now. And we are entering a really pivotal, fast-paced move. Because A, we got behind during Ida, and the fact that we started late because of COVID, and because of Ida, we started doubly late. So we're kind of picking up pace a little bit more. So A, pay attention to Google Classroom. The video lectures are going to get posted on the main page, mainstream, and the assignments are going to get posted by week in the classwork page. So today's lecture is about difficulties abroad for Thomas Jefferson. And we are going through 3 events, and I want you to take notes on all 3. Barbary Pirates, Chesapeake Leopard Affair, and the Embargo Act. So like I said, all of these events took place abroad, so not domestically. So if you have the book, we are on page 136. As a matter of policy and principle, Jefferson tried to avoid war. Rejecting permanent alliances, he sought to maintain U.S. neutrality despite increasing provocations from both France and Britain during the Neapolitan War. So we can see that Thomas Jefferson is really taking the advice of his predecessor, George Washington, when he decides to not get involved in war. And our 2 biggest allies today, Britain and France, back then are going through the Neapolitan War. They are clashing, so an abroad war affair is going on abroad. So the first major challenge to Jefferson's foreign policy came not from a major European power, but from the piracy practiced by the Barbary states on the North African coast. So pirates along the African coast. To protect U.S. merchant ships from being seized, President Washington and Adams had reluctantly agreed to pay tribute to the Barbary government. The ruler of Tripoli demanded a higher sum in tribute from Jefferson. Refusing to pay, Jefferson sent a small fleet of the U.S. Navy to the Mediterranean. Sporadic fighting with the Tripoli lasted for 4 years. Although American Navy did not achieve a decisive victory, it did gain some respect and also offered a measure of protection to U.S. vessels trading along the Mediterranean Sea. So, breaking this down, the U.S. government didn't achieve a victory per se in Tripoli. What they did receive, though, was protection along trade routes in the Mediterranean Sea, which was beneficial. Second one, Chesapeake-Leopard affair. One incident at sea especially aroused American anger and almost led to war. In 1807, only a few miles off the coast of Virginia, the British warship Leopard fired on the U.S. warship Chesapeake. These Americans were killed. 3 Americans were killed, and 4 others were taken captive and impressed into the British Army. Anti-British feeling ran high, and many Americans demanded war. Jefferson, however, resorted to diplomacy and economic pressure as his response to the crisis. So very big affair happened just off the coast of the United States. Some Americans died, while others were impressed, which means taken prisoner and fought for the British Army. Taken prisoner to fight for the British Army. Embargo Act. As an alternative to war, because Jefferson did not want to go to war, Jefferson persuaded the Democratic-Republican majority in Congress to pass the Embargo Act in 1807. This measure prohibited American merchant ships from sailing to any foreign port. Since the United States was Britain's largest trading partner, Jefferson hoped that the British would stop violating the rights of neutral nations rather than lose U.S. trade. The embargo, however, backfired and brought greater economic hardship to the United States than to Britain. The British were determined to control the seas at all costs, and they had little difficulty sustaining supplies from South America for U.S. goods. The embargo's effect on the U.S. economy, however, was devastating, especially for the merchant marine and shipbuilders of New England. So bad was the Depression that a movement developed in the New England states to secede from the Union. So the Embargo Act backfired tremendously against American ports and against American merchant builders. So he called for its repeal during the final days of his presidency, but even after repeal, however, U.S. ships could trade legally with all nations except British and France. So that kind of was where Thomas Jefferson stood in the world. We remember Thomas Jefferson now as the Embargo Act president, which caused a huge huge hardship for Americans. But that is the Embargo Act and the Louisiana Purchase is what he's reminded for. A super great thing that happened to our country, and then a super bad thing that happened to our country as a result of not getting involved in foreign disputes. So that was Thomas Jefferson's difficulties abroad. So I want you to take those 3 incidents and write summaries of each in your own words on the document in Google Classroom. See you guys next time.